what phonics is. That's what the bill is to strengthen.
Roll call. Is Allison in the room?
Yes, she's,
We want to say welcome to, Allison is from Huntsville, and she is a student at Auburn University, and she's going to be a future political leader because she's majoring in political science. So welcome, Allison. Give her a round of applause. We will have our first piece of legislation, Senate Bill 168. But before I begin, I want everybody to know on the committee that we had a public hearing scheduled, and you see that Representative Paramore's bill was taken off of the agenda because the two sides are working it out. So that's a good thing. So now we will have.
Madam Chair, we have to.
Oh, I'm sorry. We need to pray. Oh, I'm sorry. You can't. It's got probation you can't go back on. They can't get rid of you.
I never got a pay stub. I have no idea what I get paid. I never see it.
Oh, good. I thought I heard somebody say. All right,
Let's see here, you got Weaver. Is Weaver in here? I could carry her bill. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you could have. You could still. She may not be here, so be ready.
Yeah, she's in, let's see. What is it?
Hey, Mark. Mark. Mark.
I didn't say that.
What are you doing in here? Hey, that one right there, you get it on. We'll have a little talk. He's reporting to coach. He's an undercover spy for coach.
But I'm also
That's second version of your house version. Michael, that's a good idea. Move away from her, I don't blame you.
move away from her. We're gonna put him on that elevator.
I don't know, I can't get him stuck.
Do that too. Hey.
The House Education Policy meeting is now called to order. We want to say welcome to everybody, and I am not Representative Terry Collins, but I do want everybody to keep her in your prayers. Her mom is doing some better, but she's got a little ways to go, and so keep her in your prayers and send good thoughts to her mom for her continued healing. We have an intern that we want to say welcome, and I don't know where Allison Northridge is. Is Allison in the room?
Yes, she's.
We want to say welcome to, Allison is from Huntsville, and she is a student at Auburn University, and she's going to be a future political leader because she's majoring in political science. So welcome, Allison. Give her a round of applause. We will have our first piece of legislation, Senate Bill 168. But before I begin, I want everybody to know on the committee that we had a public hearing scheduled, and you see that Representative Paramore's bill was taken off of the agenda because the two sides are working it out. So that's a good thing. So now we will have.
Madam Chair, we have to.
Oh, I'm sorry. We need to pray.
Roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry. Roll call.
Invocation.
Yeah, invocation by Representative Gitley. I do well.
All right, let us pray.
Heavenly Father, first of all, we are thankful to you for this day that you've made and given us the privilege to serve our state and to serve each other, to serve those that's called us to be in these positions. Father, we pray you'll guide us today with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, that all we do will bring glory to you, to take our state forward, and that will be used for your purpose. We bless you and ask you for these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Now we will have roll call.
Representative Collins, Representative Baker, Representative Drummond, Representative Crow, Representative Daniels, Representative DuBose, Representative Estes, Representative Fincher, Representative Gidley, Representative Gray, Representative Morris, Representative Paramore, Representative Pascal, Representative Ross, Representative Smith. A quorum is present.
Well, thank you. We'll now have the SB 168, which is Senator Chesteen's bill, which will be carried by our colleague.
It's afternoon, right? Good afternoon. Thank you, Chairman Drummond and committee members. I appreciate you guys allowing me to come before you today. So Senate Bill 168 is a very familiar bill to this committee. It is making its third and hopefully final debut today. The objective of this bill is to strengthen the implementation of the Literacy Act by addressing a common barrier to student learning, a non-evidence-based method of instruction called 3Qing. 3Qing, simply put, it does not emphasize phonics-based learning. It causes students to be overly dependent on visual cues, and that leads to them guessing or seeking to memorize things rather than actually learn to sound them out and read. So this bill is passed out of our committee here in the House. Last couple of years, it just failed to get a vote in the Senate. So we switched gears this year, started it in the Senate to get it out of there first, come on down here. And so I am here with you guys today to see if you have any other questions or ask for your support.
The sponsor has given her analysis of the bill, and we've seen this on last year. Are there any questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Representative Daniels?
Thank you. I do realize, so some of the educators that have been in for a number of years have really asked, and in the previous years, you know, I've opposed this piece of legislation, and is there any new evidence where banning the 3 Qs, why that's necessary, versus doing all different types of strategies? And so help me understand the impact or negative impact that 3 Qs have had over teaching of reading.
So, like, to give you number data of like negative impact, I don't have that. I'm happy to get it for you afterwards. But what I can tell you is, and I'm trying to find this document, so give me a second for that. But I will say that while it does ban it as your primary teaching source, you're still supposed to teach the literacy, like, you know, why am I blanking on the phrasing? Basically phonics. The science of reading. Sorry, that's what I was looking for. But you can still use this to supplement. It simply can't be your primary teaching method. The basis must be the Literacy Act, using that as your foundation. But you still can use this to supplement and assist as you're teaching using that. So I don't want you to think that it's not, it's banned as a primary, like the primary teaching source in this legislation, but you can still utilize some of the techniques in it while teaching the science of reading. Your question, why it's harmful, I could give you that information, but like data, I can't. Do you want me to give you that?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me,
Sure.
Are 100% of the teachers currently letters trained in our school system? Elementary.
Cannot speak to that. I don't know. No, they're working on it.
Okay, and so they're working on it. And we've been doing this for how many years? And we're still working on it?
Can't speak to that.
Because I think for me, I want to be able to have a comparison to say that, you know, if somebody out there is still using 3 Qs as the primary.
Yes, it is definitely being done.
If there's any data that says that a teacher that's letters trained versus a teacher that's not letters trained, that the teacher that's letters trained, students are performing at a higher level versus the one that's not letters trained. And are the students progressing? And so I think for me, before making these type of decisions, especially when it comes to banning something, I want to make certain that we have all the evidence. And let me say this before you respond. I am a former elementary school teacher, and I'm speaking from experience.
Yep.
And I'm speaking from a cultural standpoint. Some teachers feel that this builds confidence and other things. And so I'm just trying to understand, we're not 100% letters trained, and there's no data that shows 3 Qs or whatever other methods are being used to teach kids that shows that we're not progressing because they're not letters trained or following this group. So I'm just trying to understand exactly what we're doing here.
So,
and why?
I would love to ask if I can defer to someone else in this room that could probably answer those things better for you. I know this is going on, and one of my big concerns, because this is the third year I've had this in this committee, it thankfully has passed out favorably both times. But I think the thing that probably bothers me the most about this is kids that cannot read using phonics. Like, they really don't. They're not being taught that. You look at different school systems that are teaching it. We have affluent school systems teaching using that method as their primary source, and communities that they're not as affluent. And you've got teachers that are or not teachers, but families that are in one community that have the opportunities to provide resourcing outside of their schools. And I get concerned that at some point this becomes something where we have kids in other communities that they can't afford tutoring, they can't get the other resourcing that they need, and that is their only implementation. And it does not always work for those kids. But I think that someone else
So hopefully
from this group could answer these questions better.
Whoever you have responding to me, I hope that there's someone that's actually worked in a school system.
I can tell here. We'll let Corinne if you're okay with that, sir.
Okay,
Yeah,
wait-
I don't care who it is.
Wait just a second. We got to respect the order I'm chairing. We'll have A+ to speak to that.
I appreciate that, Chairwoman.
Well, where's Terry Collins?
Well, she's not here.
Leader Daniels, these are great questions. My name is Corinne O'Brien. I'm the Vice President of Policy A+. I'm a former educator. I worked in public schools for 9 years. And this is a subject near and dear to my heart because my daughter is also being taught to read right now. She's in first grade. And if you followed the debate over reading the last couple of years, I understand why there's a lot of emotion around it. But at the end of the day, there's very hard evidence that shows us that the science of reading is the best way to teach all kids to learn how to read. 30% of kids are going to learn no matter how you teach them. 30% of kids just get it. And you might know some of those kids, you might have some of those children in your household. They just learned how to read no matter what. But children like my daughter are part of the 70% that need to be taught explicitly how to read. And that means being taught how to recognize letter sounds, put those letter sounds together, sound out words, and that's what phonics is. That's what the science of reading is. 3Qing is an ineffective way to teach reading, which is based not in the science of reading. It's not phonics based. It's based in a type of reading instruction that's called balanced literacy, which we know is not what works for all students. And there are school systems currently right now that are using 3Qing as a instructional tool. And it's just not successful for children like my daughter. It's not successful for kids that have dyslexia or have disabilities. But we know that phonics works for everyone. And that's what we want to make sure that we're using.
Well, thank you.
So I think
follow-up
for me,
question
a
for
follow-up.
Representative Daniels?
Thank you, Madam Chair, for allowing me to speak again. So I guess for me, I'd like to visit with you and Mark about
Absolutely.
some of those schools that are teaching it and look at the data. Because I think for me, oftentimes we're coming up with new things to take away and add. And I just want to make certain that we're not, that we're actually solving the problem and we're not taking away a tool
Absolutely.
that has been helpful and been successful.
Yeah.
And so I just want to make certain that we're not doing that. And I'd like to see the data from the schools that are
Absolutely.
using 3Qing versus those that are not, and looking at the growth from year to year.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. Representative Fincher, and then Representative Paramore.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I had a quick question. I heard from a lady who is a special education teacher in Shelby County, which is not in my district, but we represent everyone. She teaches special education, and she was some profoundly affected students in her special education class. She also has worked with students that suffer from autism and are virtually nonverbal. Her comment was, yes, phonics is the best way to go. And I think you may have answered part of my question. We are not outlawing 3Qing's use, I understand it. But in her class, she felt that actually she had some success dealing with her students in her special education class, and she would not like to see it done away with.
Yeah, I think too, again, and yes, sir, I think I did probably address this, but just to make sure I am clear with you. Yeah, I mean, essentially the primary source, like what we're saying is we still need to do what is already in law right now, which is the Literacy Act, right? That's what we follow first and foremost. you can still supplement that. It's just
But
stating
that has to
is
be
what
what
we
you
have to
first
teach.
go to.
Yes,
is
but you
phonics.
can use strategies that are effective, and especially in your special ed classes as they're writing their 504 plans or IEPs, if they're needing to put in different strategies specifically to address them, I find it hard to believe they wouldn't be able to address that in those meetings as they're accommodating special needs. I mean, I personally have sat through my fair share of 504 meetings with my middle child that we did all kinds of things that we had to do. Basic things still had to be accomplished. We still had to mainstream, but then when those mainstreams didn't work, there were sidebars where we built strategies that worked to support him. I would think that they would be able to do that. That's what they literally do probably in their teaching job every day, is using strategies that are effective. They still have primary jobs that they have to carry out.
And this bill would
But doing
not
that.
prohibit the use of 3Q.
No, you can use the strategies you need to support it. It's just the primary source of, it's your foundation, yes, so I don't want to be misleading, but you can use strategies to help along with that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. And can I address one more thing of Mr. Daniels, one of his questions? Back to the letters question you have for teachers. I'd like Ms. King, when I sat down, she was clarifying something about that. Yes, I will. I apologize. I'd love to see if I could let Ms. King speak to Leader Daniels. Y'all are killing me. This is cracking me up. But Leader Daniels question, I know. Leader Daniels
Allison King.
question.
And make this brief because we've got to be out of this room at 3 o'clock. No, I'm chairing this meeting, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If I understood your question correctly, I tried to answer as best I could, but I don't want you to think that our teachers are not receiving the training. They are absolutely going through the letters training as required by, since using the science of reading trainings is required by law since 2020, and they are going through that actively. When I said not all teachers are trained, it's because occasionally, obviously, we have teacher turnover, and it is a multi-year program to be fully letters trained. There's different levels of mastery, but they are all actively going through that training, usually during their summer and on their in-service days, and a lot of time off contract time, might I say. But they are going through those trainings and have absolutely grown as professionals, and the students are benefiting from that. But when I say they're not all trained, it's because of turnover, or a teacher might move from 5th grade to 2nd grade, and she was in a higher grade, and now he or she's in a lower grade, and they have to go through the letters training for phonics instruction. But yes, and I support, yes, what you were saying, but they can use it as a supplement if needed. And of course, IEPs will govern those processes.
Thank you, Representative.
Thank you, Chairwoman.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
I kind of like that.
After Representative Holsey over the last 2 years has explained the difference between barbecuing and 3Qing, I move to give the bill a favorable report.
Second, it was moved by Representative Paramore and second by Representative Crowe, correct? Are there any other questions, Representative Pascal?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Holsey, can you look at line 98, starting on line 98, section 4. It states a local board of education shall not use instruction material, and this goes down to A, the 3Qing system model. So based on your comment earlier, I thought, it seemed like this saying you cannot use that at all. But if your interpretation is that you can use that as a secondary mean, do we need to eventually maybe amend that on the floor to state that? Or am I reading that incorrect?
So line 105 says that the instruction may include visual information and strategies. That's what this is talking about. It's talking about that is 3Qing, is using visual and context cue. Those kinds of cueing in 3Qing are those things: visual information, context. I don't know if y'all got this sheet of paper, but that is the section that does actually address that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yep.
It has been properly moved and second. Are there any other questions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays have the same right.
Thank you, Chairwoman.
Representative Hosley.
Thank you, members.
Next bill, Senator Weaver has been waiting very patiently. And hers is probably a simple one, huh?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I hope I'm going to help you with your timeline here. I do have a very simple bill. So far, it's been simple. We'll see if you have more questions. It's a housekeeping bill from the University of Montevallo that does three things. Changes 12-year terms to 8-year terms. Starting January of 27, there would be a 2-term limit for the board members, and it would remove the requirement that the president be an educator by profession. Happy to answer any questions.
Representative Smith?
At the proper time, I'd like to move for favor.
It was moved by Representative Smith and second by,
No, I didn't
Oh.
second it. I have a
who
question.
seconded? Okay, Representative Gidley, question from Representative Daniels.
And so I have a friend that's on the board, Leroy Nix, and they're okay with this? The Board of Trustees are okay with this?
The board gave us
Okay.
this, I'm assuming,
Okay, all right.
Madam Chair,
No, I'll
may I
second.
refer to the University of Montevallo for comment?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for respecting the chair.
Yes, thank you so much, Leader Daniels. The Board of Trustees did approve all of these changes.
We have a motion and a second to give this bill a favorable report. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Nays have the same right. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman and committee.
Okay. SB 149, Representative Rehm is carrying it for Representative Woods, and all questions are accepted.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And yes, we have SB 149.
Representative Woods, before you begin, do you want, because they do both are similar, would you like to take both of them together?
Yeah, if the Chair Lady would approve
We'll
that,
have to
yes.
vote on them separately, though.
I understand. So yes, SB 149 is a command. My bill, HB 306, is the companion bill for SB 149. But let me just explain it, because the Senate bill is a sub, and what I'd like to do is pass HB 306. We have an amendment that's going to be offered by Representative Pascal, and that will match those two up. And then I will, if I get a favorable reading, I will take care of that on the House floor to have the Senate bill passed on the House floor, if that makes sense.
Okay, so HB 149,
SB 149 is the Senate bill, and that's the first one on your calendar.
well, why don't we take them in reverse? Let's go with 306 and get the amendment on.
Perfect. Thank you, ma'am. So this bill establishes a military veteran temporary teaching certificate to create a pathway for qualified military veterans to teach in Alabama K through 12 schools in teaching fields that ordinarily require a bachelor's degree. The measure is intended to address the teacher shortages while leveraging the experience and skills of military veterans. So this is a bill that was presented to me from the governor, and as a veteran, I have experience. I was a Army veteran, and to me, that's the largest worldwide career tech university in existence. And so when you're in the military and you're a veteran, when you're in the military, you learn, they're training you, and then you make rank, and then now you're training everybody else. Your term in the service is constant training. Training is teaching. This bill does not make it so that if you are a veteran, you automatically become a teacher. That is not the intent, but it creates a temporary teaching certificate exclusively for veterans that's up to 5 years. You have to have 48 months of active duty military service with an honorable discharge or medical separation. You have to complete required application materials, fees, and criminal background check. Some other requirements is 60 college credit hours with a minimum of 2.5 GPA. So you've already finished 16 credit hours, but you just haven't obtained that degree. A passing score on the appropriate praxis content exam, which we know that you can take that exam without the degree, because that was one of the questions prior to. And any additional criteria set by the State Board of Education. So again, this is valid for 5 years. It's a one-time issuance, and it's non-renewable. So there's a program, so while you're in this 5 years and you're teaching, you're also required to obtain your degree. And if you don't do that by the 5 years, then you won't be able to teach. And there will be no additions. You can't take another emergency certificate and put it on. After that 5 years, they haven't finished, that's it. And as it says, certificate holders must work towards a professional certification during that time, and they must receive mentorship, either a mentor or be part of the Alabama Teacher Mentor Program. And Madam Chair, with that, I'll reserve for questions.
Thank you, Representative Rehm. This is really an interesting bill. Before I go to members, one of the questions I had is Alabama, are other states doing this already?
You know, I was sitting there believing that question would come up, and I will tell you, I do not have the answer to that question. I think in the early process, somebody mentioned another state doing this, but I have to admit, I did not look into that. I answered a number of questions from Representative Baker and Chair Lady Collins, Paramore, and those were not, you know, I got all their questions answered, but that never came up.
But some members think that Florida is doing it. But can you go to line 37? Because what interested me is the completion of the 60 college credits with a minimum cumulative grade point average of 2.5, which on a 4.0 scale. So is that saying, tell me what that is saying.
That is saying if they're
because that's awfully low to me.
Not if I was in school.
Well, let's just say for our school children.
I would call it a win, but no, absolutely, and not to make fun of what you make an excellent point. I think we just wanted to make that attainable and not set the bar so high.
But are we asking our school kids to set? We want them to set the bar high.
Madam Chair, can you teach in the school with a grade point average of 2.5 now?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
Yeah,
you can.
I did.
Sounds like it's a lot of 2.5s out there.
So you would be putting an extra burden on veterans that already have all this experience, Madam Chair.
Okay. Representative Smith and then Daniels.
All right, one of the questions I had, you mentioned in there that during that 5-year period, they would have to complete their degree. There are people who complete the degree but can't pass the praxis, so where does the praxis fall in?
So they have to take the praxis first. So that's part of qualifying to do this. And so the question was from Representative Paramore, you know, could you actually take the praxis without a degree? And from state said, yes, you can. And they already have temporary certificates for other circumstances, which imply that you don't have your degree, so.
But that temporary certificate is for a year.
Well, in this case, it'd be, well, okay, in this case, it'd be for 5 years, but you have already passed the praxis. Yes, sir.
Okay, Representative Daniels?
Yeah, I think with the alternative certification, I think the 1 year to 2 year max is before the 3 years of gaining tenure. And so help me understand, how does tenure impact a 5-year certificate? And will
My understanding is that you don't gain tenure in the 5 years. I thought I had
your understanding, or is that in writing?
Well, let's stand by.
No, we can work it out.
Yeah, but no, my understanding was.
Do you have someone who you want to bring up?
Well, can you speak educationally on it? No, well, I don't mean, no pun intended, but.
The governor's office, Drew, can you come forward?
Because I think that's covered in, but I don't remember where.
Yeah, it should be an amendment for the House bill that to make it similar to match it up to the Senate bill, which addresses.
No, we're past that. He had a specific question.
Yeah, the amendment, the language in the amendment addresses the non-accumulation towards tenure issue that you referenced. There's a first and second paragraph in the amendment that addresses that.
Okay. Are there any other questions? And if not, I'll have Representative Pascal go ahead and bring the amendment so we can clear up that. Will you go ahead and introduce the amendment, sir?
Yes, Madam Chair. Members, you should have a copy of the amendment in your package. We're going to replace line 67 on page 3 with the following. D, time served as a teacher pursuant to a temporary certificate under this section shall not be counted in determining continued service status. And then E, individuals who receive a temporary certificate under this section shall not be available to receive an emergency certificate pursuant to section 16-23-3F. And then F, when notifying the individual of his or her. And then we're going to also replace line 72 on page 3 with the following. G, the State Board of Education shall adopt rules too. And this amendment just clean up some language and also mirrors Senate Bill 149 also.
You've heard the amendment. Are there any questions, or I'll entertain a motion?
And I do consider that a friendly amendment, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
I move the amendment's adoption.
Is there a second? All in favor of the amendment, say aye. Aye. Nays have the same right. Now, Representative Rehm, the bill as amended.
Yes, so I knew that
I got
topic.
one more question.
May I address Leader Daniels just 1 second? So I knew we had that answer somewhere. I just forgot the amendment, so I appreciate that.
Okay, Representative Ross?
My question is that when they finish their education, and they get their college degree, does it have to be in the School of Education, or could it be an engineering degree or some other 4-year degree?
That would be up to what the standards of the Department of Education is. I do not can answer that question. That they have a bachelor's degree.
Does anybody in the
already
education
had one.
community, can they answer that question for Representative Ross? Okay.
It's okay.
No one knows that answer.
Well, but in any case, this would not change the standard. I mean, because this will be the same standard for everybody else. You know, whatever degree folks obtain now to teach, this doesn't change that.
Okay, Representative Smith?
I think Representative Rehm is right at that, because we can take an engineer who has passed the praxis and then they can be certified to teach. You can take a person who maybe was in pre-med with a degree that can come in and teach biological sciences with the passing of the praxis.
That's right. Yep.
Okay, the bill has been amended. Can I get a motion as amended? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Bill as amended was by Representative Paramore, second by Representative Fincher. All in favor? Aye. Nays have the same right. So now we will go, you want your bill substituted for SB 149, or you now want to?
No, I would just like a favorable reading on SB 149.
Okay, are there any other questions? You've heard the debate. Are there any other questions of the sponsor for SB 149, which is Senator Matt Wood's bill? Representative Pascal?
Madam Chair, at the appropriate time, I'd like to move for a favorable report.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Nays have the same right. The bill has been given a favorable report.
And Madam Chair, just for record, so we have a favorable reading for my HB 306 and then a favorable reading for SB 149.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You have a favorable reading for both, and I gather you will do this on the floor when you get them on the floor, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
HB 183, Representative DuBose. Lots of questions, folks.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. So I've been toting this book around this is my 3rd year. I call it my homeschool to tech school bill. It started out as HB 61, and then it was HB 278, and this year it is HB 183. And I'm honored to present it to you again. It's passed out of this committee once. It's passed off the House floor. It's passed out of Senate committee. Passed out of EFT, ETF committee, House floor, Senate committee again. So we just hope to get it all the way through the Senate this year. This bill basically allows homeschool students to participate in career and tech education programs at public schools. It does allow for full-time standalone careers and technical education schools to opt out. And it also gives first privilege to students that are in the public schools. So this allows homeschool students to participate if there is room. And the homeschool student would also have to pay any fee that's associated with the Career Tech program. So this program's very popular and wanted by members of our homeschool community. Obviously, it's difficult to emulate the Career Tech program in a homeschool situation. So given the emphasis on Career Tech in our state, I think this is an important bill for us to go ahead and pass this year. And I'm here if there's any questions.
Are there any questions of the sponsor? Representative Estes?
Mine is more of a comment than it is a question. First of all, I appreciate you bringing the bill, and I am supportive of it. Any bill like this is always going to give me a little bit of indigestion because I'm just concerned that we're allowing, it's almost as if we're saying, your school's not good enough to send my kids there for whatever reason. And I know some parents just prefer to homeschool. It may have nothing to do with what they think about the local public school.
Exactly.
But I'm just concerned that we continue to open this door and treat our public schools like we're a buffet line, and I'll take that, and I'll take that, and I'll take that, but I don't think I'll take that, or that. And so the reason I'm going to support it is because I think it's important that as many kids as we can expose them to Career Tech.
Yes.
Yes, I'm very supportive of that. I'm just going to continue to blow that trumpet every time a bill like this comes up. Yes, just because it just concerns me that I don't necessarily think that our public schools are being treated fairly in that regard, that some can just come in and choose to take what they want and just handpick. So
thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Representatives Daniels and then Smith.
Hey, how you doing, Representative? So you said that they would pay any additional fees. Mm-hmm. Who's going to pay for them to actually go to the tech school? Is that counted in the formula for? Do they count as a student? How do they count them? From a revenue standpoint?
Right. So they do have to register as a non-traditional student, similar to say a student that come in as a student athlete, and under the Tim Tebow type law, they enroll, take a PE class, and then play football with the school. So they do have to enroll as a non-traditional student at the public school, and there's a ADM, average daily money membership that the school would receive. What I'm talking about in course fees here is some of the Career Tech courses, depending on what it is, may have an additional fee because of supplies or whatever they're doing that even the student, a regular student, would have to pay. So here I'm specifically referring to those course fees that may be associated with a particular Career Tech program.
Okay.
Representative Smith.
Well, my question goes along the exact same line, but that ADM, is this going to be a half student? Is it going to be a 1/7 student? How's it going to be funded?
Yeah.
Because that's how we get our teacher units.
Mm-hmm. The way I understand it now, the only way to apply as a non-traditional student, I think it gives them the full ADM. Is that correct? Yeah.
They'll count as a full-day student. Good.
Representative Crowe.
That was, Madam Chairwoman, that was my question, is how would the cost be supplemented in the school boards? Outside of, I'm looking at that city like a lab fee or something like specific to that class, right? But there are other costs associated in that classroom.
Yes.
I think my question has been answered.
Okay, thank you.
Representative, just for me, can you tell me in the bill it talked about those homeschoolers must meet certain conditions? What are those conditions that they have to meet?
Well, okay, so for example, you may have to have a prerequisite class. Say you're taking some technical class that requires like a biology prerequisite for, I don't know, some health services, I don't know if you're taking nursing or something like that. There may be a prerequisite. So whatever prerequisite that the public school student has to have in order to enter that class, the homeschool student would also have to have that class as well.
Okay. Are there any other questions? If not, I'll move for a motion. Representative Daniels, is this favorable report, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and then Representative Paramore, Representative Pascal, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays have the same right. As the chair of the Education Policy on this day, we are adjourned.
They just got a little taste of what we did all the time. You did a good job.
Thank you.